is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
ABC Sports presents, live in its 28th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. From Grand Prairie, Texas, and the Forum Bowling Lanes, it's the $150,000 Quaker State Open. Today on our opening match, two native Texans square off. David Ozio, fighter, meets our number 4 ranked bowler, Houston's Pete McCordic. The winner takes on last week's champion and our 3rd Texan, Ballard Jr. of Richardson. Ohio's Don Genalo stands in 2nd place and will face the Lone Star State survivor. And our top seed this week is Steve Wunderlich of St. Louis, who's looking for his first PBA singles title and the $27,000 first prize today. That's our field for the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. Yes, this is some of Texas ranchland, part of nature's beauty surrounding the vast Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And again, we're back in friendly Grand Prairie, Texas. Boy, are they fired up. This crowd is always enthusiastic, and they welcome us each year. It's second to none, believe me. I'm Chris Schenkel. Delighted you joined us for our live telecast of the Professional Bowlers Tour. And then, immediately following, there are a few Texans on the Harlem Globetrotters' incredible team. They'll be performing in Australia. You'll see it on Wide World today. Sheer entertainment, believe me. They started in 1927, and they get stronger with each passing year. That's on Wide World. Right now, before we get the first shot of the Professional Bowlers Tour, my ABC colleague has a Texas connection. Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. You're right. My father is from Dallas, Texas, went to SMU. And I'll tell you what, we do have a great field today, and they are the most experienced field we've had in the top 5 so far this year. All these players have classic styles. If you want to watch a player and emulate his style or teach your child a style, watch any one of our 5 players. Now, the matches today should be very close. In the first match, we have Pete McCordic, who rolled 300 2 years ago on ABC TV, going against David Ozio, always tough. The winner goes against another Texan, Ballard Jr., who won the Showboat Classic last week. In the number 2 position, the semifinal match, Don Genalo. You remember him. He's the clutch player on the Pro Bowlers Tour. 3 times on our ABC telecast in his career, he's gone to the 10th frame and needed a strike, performed and won the tournament. And our tournament leader, Steve Wunderlich, has been around for a while. He's a veteran. He's hungry to win. He had a tremendous lead after 42 games in this tournament, but he has to put it all in line on 1 shot, 1 game. Now, Chris, there's a lot of money Quaker State's put up, so let's take a look at it.
Yes, $150,000 total, and 27 goes to the winner, 14 to the runner-up, $865 and $5,500. So you'll see all this happening, starting with match 1. David Ozio is first up. He's on the left lane. He's from Vidor, Texas. It's a suburb of Beaumont, Texas, about 300 miles from here. He's 34 years old, 4 championships, a man that loves to practice. Works hard. Come on, David! And as a result of practice, he gets a lot of strikes, Bo, just like that power one we saw.
Well, Chris, as you remember last year, Bob Benoit rolled that 300 game in the championship game here at the Quaker State, so we know these lanes can yield some high scores. Obviously, veterans out there who know how to roll those scores under pressure.
So the other Texan in this first match, Pete McCordic of perfect 300 game fame in Torrance 2 years ago, will now show you how to cover the 10 pin on the right lane. He is 35. Houston is his home. Really a neat guy, a veteran. Okay. The game is on. As we indicated, there are 3 Texans, our tournament leaders from St. Louis. McCordic.
Here's a player who has just made himself a good bowler. 4-step delivery, shoulder-high arm swing. Used to have a bump in that arm swing. Now lines it straight, high follow-through. Slides about 8 to 10 inches behind the foul line. Has made himself a top player on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
we've had 2 shots on the left lane, 2 strikes. So now with his first shot on this side, let's take a look at David Ozio. Father of 2, Heather and Haley. Well, that's a style we could all copy, Nelson.
You're not kidding, Chris. Another player who has just made himself a top pro, a veteran for a number of years who struggled a little bit in the early going, spent a lot of time practicing. As you can see, he's solid at the foul line, is playing that outside line. And one little teaser here, he had 10 gutter balls in the tournament and still qualified for the championship round. So we can look for that extreme outside line from most of the players today.
Comes up with a high hit, and the result often happens is a 3-6-10, and he's pretty disgusted with that shot.
You see that with his ball just drifting a little bit high, it's going right up through the heart. The 3-6-10 spare is left. And Chris, the lanes are hooking quite a bit today. It's been rainy here all week and a lot of humidity, and that makes lanes a little bit drier than usual. So spares across lane can be a little bit tough.
All right. David Ozio continuing to mark here in our first match. If you just joined us, we're in Grand Prairie, Texas. The winner will meet last week's winner, Ballard Jr., who won in Las Vegas. And here's McCordic, 2 victories, 16-year professional. All right. McCordic had a lot of inspiration. We asked him earlier what was his inspiration to make the top 5 this week.
Well, after I made the top 24 this week, my wife and my 2 boys came on up to watch the tournament. The last time that my family came up to watch the tournament from the beginning, I won the tournament in Tucson. I've only been home a day since the 1st of January. And
all right, a double on his lap, now going for 3 in a row. Okay, he opened with a spare. So now he takes a 13-pin lead.
From Rocky Mountain snow to Florida sun, Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Mine's pushing 250,000 miles.
Quaker State engines run strong and run long.
95,000 miles and no problem.
Quaker State is quality engineered to exceed every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
This car is new. I'd be stupid not to use Quaker State.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Some people are so silly. Ouch. They make this big deal about Kellogg's Frosted Flakes being just for kids. Well, look at me. I'm an adult. I eat them. Heck, I love them. Frosted Flakes just for kids? Come on. Like we adults have to go sneaking around, like we can't enjoy these sweet, crunchy flakes just as much as kids.
Daddy, are you eating our Frosted Flakes again?
Oops. There now. You can't deny it. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
I never was much on investing. I couldn't trust people who had all kinds of ideas on what to do with somebody else's money. But the time comes when you gotta stretch what you got. So I checked with AARP. Got a lot of information, advice on credit unions, investment plans, and funds. I'm doing okay. But you know what I like even more? I trust them. Can't say that about everyone.
AARP, making a difference.
The championship pair, Chris, 39 and 40 here at the Forum Bowl, a house of 60 lanes. 39 is the key lane. It hooks a lot more. The players have to play a shot between the second and third arrows and send it very wide. Lane 40, everybody has scored well. The oil is 42 feet down the lanes, and obviously the ice 18 feet, very dry. Ozio has been around the pocket every shot except in the third frame. McCordic has 3 strikes working. Ozio has to get on the stick.
Bo mentioned the 60 bowling lanes. There are 30 crystal chandeliers in this establishment, owned by a lovely lady named Jeannie Halsey. All right. Then a work of beauty. as Ozio hits on the right lane, moving back over to the left. There you see a scoring situation. Ozio can cut that lead to 3, held by McCordic with a double here, shooting in the 5th next as he takes a re-rack.
Each player allowed 3 re-racks in the championship match. And Chris, here's an interesting game matchup. The 2 best teams, I think, in basketball today. Louisville is number 3, and Michigan, what a great team.
All right, not much hope for Purdue then, right?
No, you're right.
And high hit for Ozio. Remember, he left the 3-6-10 earlier. Now he has the 3-6-9-10.
And here is a spare of much more difficulty, Chris, because the 9-pin, that double wood 9-pin behind the 3-pin, makes a player have to play an outside trajectory out near the right-hand channel to make sure he carries the back pin and still avoid the chop.
Good preparation, Ozio. That was almost perfect, wasn't it, Nelson?
Anytime they all go down, Chris, it's like a landing in an airplane. If you walk away from the flight, it's good, and he walked away from that, so he made that spare perfectly, knocking all 4 pins down and staying in contention in the match. McCordic 3 in a row, leads by 13, 5th frame.
Crossing over, and he too now will show you how he'll attempt to knock down the 3-6-10 on the right lane.
McCordic, who is checking the overhead scoreboard, uses what we call a full grip or fingertip grip in his ball, and he tucks that pinky finger under there for a little more control. As you see the spare at hand, McCordic a little tape on that index finger to get a little push off on that ball.
That won in Fresno and Tucson. Okay, we're going to have Pete give us an answer to that question about his inspiration for this week.
Well, after I made the top 24 this week, my wife and my 2 boys came on up to watch the tournament. The last time that my family came up to watch the tournament from the beginning, I won the tournament in Tucson. I've only been home a day since the 1st of January, and it was really inspiring for me to bowl well while they were here.
Okay. No better reasons in the world than those 2 youngsters of the McCordics. And, of course, that strike came in the 6th frame. Continues to lead by 10, but here is Ozio, spare working, 6th frame shot. This is our first match. The winner will meet Del Ballard of Richardson, Texas.
You know, to become a top professional bowler, you need natural athletic ability and obviously the opportunity to play at a young age. David Ozio didn't start till he's 16. That's one of the latest beginners. But you need a dedication to the game and practice, and both these players practice over 100 games a week besides the tour.
Hey, come on, David! Hands and thumbs, in particular, taking a tremendous beating. Big shot by Ozio. We're all even. We'll be back.
Users of nasal sprays invariably encounter the same problem.
Warm voice.
Sprays that roll back in their throat or drip out of their nose. To avoid this, they'll do just about anything. But this man has Sinex Ultrafine Mist. Its medicine doesn't roll back or drip out. It goes up and stays up, and that makes it better. So try Sinex Ultrafine Mist. It goes up and stays up. From Vicks, of course.
That's it? That's all? You gotta be kidding.
You're done. Sure? If you thought dental cleanings were easy with Tartar Control Crest,
Can't believe it.
they just got easier.
Well, that was fast.
Introducing new and improved Tartar Control Crest.
You're all done? No.
The new tartar fighting formula can actually help stop tartar before it starts.
Piece of cake.
Tartar Control Crest, the dentist's choice, is now harder on tartar and easier on you.
Thank you very much.
There's quite a family headed by Jeannie Hulls in the center with her 2 children, and Jeannie contributes more to charity than I think any bowling establishment in America. Over the years, over 120,000 to the Scottish Rite Crippled Children's Hospital. And that's right here in the area. And as great contributions.
You're right, Chris. As proprietors of this bowling center, has had 13 tournaments.
And again, McCordic with a 3, 6, 10.
One thing to watch for in today's championship round, and I think league bowlers should be very aware of this, as they bowl, the oil or lane conditioner, now we told you here we apply at 42 feet this week on the Professional Bowlers Tour, carries down. The ball actually carries it towards the pins, picks up some on the ball, so the lanes will actually start hooking less in the next couple of matches than what we've seen so far today.
Pete applying a little hip action at the line. As we're all even, you can look at it right there. This is the first match.
Pete McCordic used to tie matches, Chris. He's been involved in 4 championship round ties, and he is the only player to tie for a championship. In 1973 in Detroit, he tied with, 83, tied with Brian Voss.
Okay, the man that had to wait 15 years to win his first PBA title. Remember when he rolled a perfect 300 game worth $100,000, he did not win the championship.
The release of McCordic. Watch the action as he drives through that pivot step. Now watch that wrist roll right underneath the ball. Great shot, a little bit loft over the foul line, and that's where the power comes from. You see how solidly hit the line. Now here's Ozio to take the lead.
All but the 10.
Chris, he almost got that shot. He came in light, and the ball just slashed the 5-pin out. The head pin went to the sideboard, and all he has to do is get over here by the 10-pin, knock that down very simply. And it was interesting, really, how the head pin almost took that 10-pin out.
All right. You mentioned Forum Lanes and Jeannie Halsey. They have a Texas Youth Scholarship Fund. The Quaker State Tournament has contributed over $50,000 to that. Since September of '88, $169,000 to 2,820 Texas youth. Scholarship money.
That is great.
You'll recall David opening with a double, and now as we get near the end, he's starting to really sock it into the pocket. But McCordic has a 1-pin lead, can increase it to 11 with a strike in the ninth.
Wife Susie looking on, obviously rooting. McCordic, if he can strike, as you said, Chris, can increase that lead to 11. He could shut out Ozio if he strikes all the way out.
Boy, did he crank that shot at the line.
Really wanted it, went for a little extra, and he's had some problems on the right-hand lane. Lane 40 has been high in the 7th frame, in the 5th frame, and crosses all the way over to the left side of the head pin, leaves a 5-9 spare, somewhat of an unusual spare for a right-hander. And now the match is just up for grabs, but the first order of business for McCordic, as you look at that full grip urethane bowling ball, is to make the spare.
It's been a while since we've seen the 5-9. Nelson Burton's tip of the week today will be a great lesson on how to cover that 7-pin.
7-pin, the key pin for converting all left side spares. Everything works off the 7. Right now, this young man has a 1-pin lead, 10th frame. As I said, he's been in 4 roll-offs in the championship round. He has only won 1 time in those 4 roll-offs. We haven't had a tie so far this year. It could happen today.
Well, he ran that one out as the pin danced off the deck.
Tell you talk about players being in the match. Ozio was up asking for a re-rack, not even realizing it was the 10th frame for Pete McCordic. And really, that's the type of concentration you need. He's looking at the scoreboard. He says, my goodness, there are 10 frames in this game. Up for grabs as McCordic now is asking for a re-rack and taking a little time to get his composure, he could shoot a 227 and would force Ozio to strike in the 10th and 11th. Anybody's match.
You ever ask for a re-rack just to catch your breath?
It's not a bad idea, Chris, but sometimes it backfires. I think the moment itself carries itself, and just go ahead and fire it. This is instinct right now. If I could get that result, I would.
Oh, yes.
You know, there's a danger in that, and I've seen it happen before. Players lose track of how many re-racks they have. If you take that 4th re-rack, you get 0 for the frame. He'd have shut himself out.
Good point.
227, the best possible score for McCordic. Ozio can still take the match.
With a 2-8, McCordic grabs his head like 225 for McCordic.
And the 225, and the reason he's shaking his head is you see the 2-8 allows Ozio to only get 1 strike and 9 spare for a tie. If he had gotten a 9 count instead of an 8 count, he would have forced Ozio to strike twice. So for David Ozio, he must strike on this ball and 9 spare for a tie. 2 strikes in a row for a win.
How these professionals meet the challenge of pressure. Oh.
Chris, you are so right in that. And unless you've been to a professional bowling tournament, you see the reaction in the eyes. Look at the concentration. Never even blinked. Never looked off his target. He has to have this strike. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Just saws that 5 out. I was saying, if you've never been to a professional bowling tournament in your area, do yourself a favor. It's just amazing how good today's talent is. Now, for Ozio, 9 spare, it's a tie. 8 is a loss. A strike is a win.
Capacity crowd here at Forum Lanes watching this shot with you. Oh, a high hit.
Loser.
3, 6, 9, 10. And it is McCordic who will move forward. It's $5,500 for David Ozio. Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
The Clydesdales, the symbol of Budweiser quality, of Beechwood aging, the choicest natural ingredients, and a genuine commitment to freshness and taste. One beer lives up to all this. Budweiser.
From the frigid Great Lakes
Alka-Seltzer Plus, that's all I ever needed.
to the icy mountains of Oregon,
It's been excellent for me.
more and more Americans are taking Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds.
In a word, it works. My dandruff shampoo is good.
Better try something else. Mine really works.
You'd better try something else, like Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it more than all of the leading brands. None get rid of dandruff better than Selsun Blue.
People wait all week for Saturday, but you don't have to wait till Monday to get the weekend's news. Watch ABC's World News Saturday with Carol Simpson, because news doesn't stop on the weekend.
Bow, bow, bow. Matchmaker, matchmaker, this is no fun. Send me somewhere, I need the sun. Matchmaker, matchmaker, I've got the tent. I'm ready to fish, I got boats to rent.
The genuine Belle of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages gives you the most ads and the most choices. No wonder it's the most used book around.
Show us some sights, 3 days, 2 nights. Make me a perfect match.
The genuine Belle of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. No other book can match it.
Give me a hot, dusty day any time of year. Give me my favorite Ford and mud up to here, 'cause I love getting dirty. Yes, I love getting dirty. So give me rain and puddles in my 4x4. Give me a brand new Ranger and I'll never be bored, 'cause I love getting dirty.
Newly designed Ford Ranger.
Yes, I love getting
Now 4.9 financing or $750 cash on Ranger at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
Inside Edition, weekdays at 5, here on TV 27.
The Professional Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. By Kellogg's Corn Flakes, simple, delicious, and surprising. Taste them again for the first time. And by AC Delco, automotive parts that don't just fit, they match.
Hundreds of fans watching the Quaker State Open here at Forum Lanes. Standing room only, and they saw 14 strikes, 7 by each bowler. However, McCordic with 3 more pins shoots at 225 to 222. Let's go up close and personal with this man, Pete McCordic.
Pete McCordic, bowling immortality within his grasp. 1 more strike.
The 300 pin sits proudly in Pete's home. The recognition has been rewarding. But just as rewarding is his time with wife Susie and sons Patrick and Michael. Being away from his family 35 weeks a year is not easy.
Since the boys were born, it's a little tougher to be gone. I feel like I'm missing a lot being on the road so much. But when I'm home, I try to make up for it. I spend a lot of time with the boys. My wife Susie manages a travel agency. She does spend a lot of time at work, but she does raise the family. The boys have never not known me. And that's because my wife talks about me all the time to them. So I have to give her credit for that.
I want them to understand that we both love them, and that Pete being out on tour does not mean that he does not love them, because he really does.
Say it together, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you too, Michael. You say it with Patrick.
God is great. God is good. Let us thank you for our faith. Amen.
Okay, good boys. The way they eat your donuts. My life right now is as good as I could want. I've had a couple of good years bowling. I've accomplished some major things in bowling. I've got a house that's a lot nicer than any house I thought I could ever have. I've got a family that's doing very well. We're all doing well together. Things are going so good, it's almost too good to be true.
We could say the same for Sissy Burton and Fran Schenkel. They raised our children, right?
You're not kidding. We're still raising them. I still got 4 of them at home. Now, here's the man you just saw going against this man who's red hot. Won last week's Showboat Invitational. 2 Texans. That's the hometown favorite, though, Ballard Jr. McCordic, first shot.
And off to a perfect start. Now it's Del Ballard, who loves the 56-game formats. 3 victories under those conditions. Did well here under 42 games. Finished 3rd, his first shot. And he's extremely nervous because he's bowling in front of a lot of hometown fans, where they're always friendly critics.
Richardson, Texas, about a half hour north of Dallas, and you can see he's got the hot hand, Chris. He threw that ball so confidently, and that's what a win will do for you. And as you alluded to, those 56-game format tournaments that he won are all our major tournaments. Are usually 56 games. This week, just 42 games, so he has 3 more games to go if he can get by this one.
So the U.S. Open champion, Masters titleist in 1988. Let's see what he does with this lonely 9-pin.
You can see the revolutions on Del Ballard's ball, and he doesn't give it enough room on the left-hand lane. 39 crosses over, almost leaves the 5-9 spare, which we saw McCordic leave on the right-hand lane the first match. And Chris, 39 has historically been the lane that a player must hit to be successful in this championship round here.
Del Ballard is only 25 years of age, PBA member for 7, winning 3. And last year, 64 grand. Thus far this year, 33,000. McCordic last year, 84. And 24.50 thus far this year. A little apprehensive. So is Susie, because it looked like it was really going to come up high, but he's starting off with that double and now moves to the left.
Very important point. McCordic had really struggled on the right-hand lane in his victory over David Ozio. He left 3 difficult spares, the 3-6-10, the 3-6-10 twice, and then the 5-9. So he made the adjustment. He's in the pocket. Like to capitalize it with another strike here on 39.
Again, coming up high, and it's a 4-pin.
If McCordic does one thing wrong under pressure, that's to vary his ball speeds. He's normally around 18 miles an hour, and when he gets aiming, trying to aim that ball a little bit, he tightens up that lat muscle, the big muscle in the right hand behind his right shoulder and his back, and it slows the ball speed down. He doesn't have quite the flexibility, and it drifts high. That's what happened on that shot.
Okay, McCordic, who has a twin brother named Paul, 11 minutes older, and unfortunately he won't be bowling for a while. He's a PBA member because he's on crutches as a result of a skiing accident.
Well, Paul and Peter were both going skiing after Las Vegas. Obviously, Peter opted not to go, and he's here in the championship round.
Dell had a spare up, so he left the 10-pin.
A style very similar to Marshall Holman's, just so contemporary. He's loose and relaxed. Watch how he cups that wrist underneath the ball. Perfectly straight arm swing, shoulders level. Just a high follow through. He does it so easily, and yet tremendous power on the bowling ball.
Remember last week, he defeated the fellow Texan Bob Benoit to win at the Showboat, and he promised that he would buy the gas as they drove back to Dallas together. He told me that he did that in traveling 1,180 miles to get to this tournament. So he stuck to his word, the winner of 33 grand last week.
And Benoit, who is the defending champion here with that memorable 300 last year, just missed the top 24 by 4 pins. Didn't defend his title.
Bob finishing 28. Dell has a wireless mic on, so from time to time we may get an audio comment from him.
He wasn't particularly happy with the way that ball behaved going down the lane. He gave it a lot of room to accommodate the left lane hooking more, but it kind of, what we said, rolled out. It started to hook and then quit. It lost its spin right at the last moment, and that's very difficult to adjust to that type of shot.
Incidentally, Mark Roth, who has won here, and whom Benoit defeated with that 300, finished 39th. We're in our second match. More to come.
Harry, if you don't want to end up in court, you better send that child to court.
I'm calling about your son, Grover. You better send money. His ski trip's over.
Send the money now, you dig? Or we won't make our next gig.
To send someone money fast, come to Western Union. We'll make sure it gets to any of our 10,000 locations, usually in 15 minutes or less.
Cruising!
Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
You see the beauty beneath the years of neglect. Now trust True Test Enriched Finishes from True Value Hardware to bring out all the warmth and richness of prepared wood surfaces. Enriched stains come in 12 shades to enhance bare wood's natural beauty. Then add the protection of enriched varnish in a choice of 3 finishes to seal and preserve furniture, woodwork, and floors. Get professional results with the lineup of True Test Enriched products from participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Hi, I'm Al Trowick in Sydney, Australia.
Hey, guys. Get out of here. Hi, I'm Twiggy Dunbar.
And I'm Twiggy Sanders. We don't need that guy to tell you how much fun we're having out here in Sydney, Australia.
That's right, and we're coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Be there.
While we were away, McCordic bowled in the 4th frame, marked with a spare, covering a 6-10. Now leaving a 4-pin, and for those that wonder why we bowled through, we have 90 minutes time allotted for the professional bowlers to telecast, and occasionally because of a lot of spares or slow play, in order to get everything in the 90-minute segment, we do bowl through. We hope you understand. All right, maintaining his slight lead of 8 pins, but Del Ballard now up in the 5th with a spare working.
Ballard, who's been right around the pocket on this right-hand lane, lane 40, every time. I expect him to be right there this time, and the key frame will be the 6th frame.
Come on, baby.
Determined and loves winning. Only 25.
Got a great future. Chris, I think key shot here. Ballard, with that soft ball speed, around 16 miles an hour, needs to make an adjustment, and the kind of adjustment he needs to make is with more speed. When your ball rolls out, you either have to spin it more or throw it harder. He must go with more ball speed to be consistent.
Got the hook. Back off. Yuck. Oh, that's awful.
He said that was awful?
Well, and what happened, he tried to reach back for a little extra speed, and he didn't get the speed, and he pulled the ball, so he ended up with a 4-pin, but he's not in trouble. 2-pin goes to sideboard, knocks out the 7, leaves the 4, and the match is still tight.
You just joined us. Our first game was tight. Pete McCordic defeating David Ozio, 225 to 223. Ozio leading with a check of $5,500. Loser of this game, $6,500, but the winner gets a step closer to the $27,000 first prize. Ranking up his 8-pin lead if he can strike on the left lane.
You want to see some fabulous pin action? Watch the ball as it drives the 5-pin over in the 4-7 area, and the last pin standing is the 4-pin. He just absolutely overpowers it. Watch this unusual pin action. Tremendous. The head pin goes right by the 4-pin. The 5 slides behind the 4. The head pin comes back and gets the 4-pin. That's saw in the rack.
Would you believe another 4?
McCordic, just a medium speed shot. Each player has to pick up their speed just a pinch, and we have a radar gun on both players. They're both at 16 and 17 miles an hour. Ideally, 18 would put them right solid in the pocket every shot.
Okay, one of these frames we'll see a trip 4. You can count on it. An 8-pin lead by Pete McCordic.
Folks, please. Hey, we can't turn in a verdict while there's still a reasonable doubt.
Bob Swan has a dry shirt, but that doesn't mean he smells good. Because underarm odor isn't visible, he needs Sure Solid, our most effective wetness and odor formula yet. So, Bob, why come to court with a dry shirt and a false sense of security? Tomorrow, get the total protection of today's Sure.
You were right.
And be just as sure about odor as you are about wetness.
Thanks.
Why is this man still up with his cold, sniffling through tissue after tissue, counting his coughs and sneezes, wrestling with aches and pains? Why is he suffering instead of resting? Why? Because he's holding out for the medicine that works best for him. Cherry-flavored NyQuil. It's the great-tasting nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine. In original flavor, too.
The challenge, a difficult split. The remedy, skill with a dose of luck. Next week's challenge, the Budweiser Classic on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
Innovative new camera angle that our producer Carol Eddy and director Ned Simon are going to try today. I think we'll all like it. Right down there in front of the pocket on the right-hand lane, and here, this is how you'll see that ball coming right at you, right into your home. So Del Ballard up on the approach, playing that wide swing shot. We'll see how it looks. The match right now, Ballard in arrears by 8, 7th frame.
Come on, here it is. And Del got his wish, which you heard. And his fans start whooping it up.
Re-rack.
You could see that ball coming down that lane and hanging out almost to the very last board, then making a left turn about 50 feet down the lane, driving all 10 pins into the pit. Now, Ballard, who has struggled here on the left-hand lane, needs a strike to take the lead for the first time. Taking a double re-rack, Chris, and what the problem seems to be is the pin setters are so fast here that sometimes they set the pins and they just jiggle off spots slightly, And so the 3-pin just moves slightly off spot, and in a critical point in the match, he needs them on spot.
Leading money winner in 89 is ready.
Oh, good, baby. Come on.
You see, there's a tip. You got to talk to those pins, folks. Got to talk.
Well, I'll tell you, that ball, that 16-pound ball, gave those 3-pound, 7-ounce pins the message, as you see McCordic, for the first time, trailing in a match. Carefully sets himself, has that index finger covered with a little tape. That's his key spot in his swing. He tries to make his swing feel off that index finger.
Converted the split, leaving the 3.
Peter's struggling with speed, needs to pick it up. And when you pick up your ball speed, as you see Peter's drifting a little bit high here, you need to either get a longer push away and a longer approach. Don't try to muscle it with your arms. Step back on the approach a little bit, a la Marshall Holman, and pick up that ball speed with the legs.
Getting late now, and 3 pins separating the 2. McCordic trailing by 3 as our tournament leader. Steve Wunderlich and the next man up, Don Genalo, continue to warm up off to our right. When you hear a pin fall, it's from their practicing like this.
Pivotal 9th frame. McCordic would like to have that foundation strike, trails by 3.
Robbed. Remember, he won the first game by 3 pins, 225 to 222.
Nobody's missed a spare today. We've had some tough ones too. The 3, 6, 9, 10, the 3, 6, 10. 10 pins, no problem for McCordic.
And now, with a double up, last week's winner, Del Ballard, shooting in the 9th frame. Leading by 4, can go out to 14.
Hit it, hit it. Yeah! Come on.
I'll tell you, when you're red hot, the pins know it. Watch the action of the 5-pin as he drives it over here into the 4-7 area. The head pin comes back off the sideboard and takes out this 4-pin. Here we go. This is power. He leaned back for a little extra. The head pin goes to sideboard. It drives itself back in the 5-4-7 area. Just made those pins dance, and now he's in a position to shut out McCordic with this strike.
That's a good shot.
Hear what Del said? That was a good shot.
Well, there's not always a guarantee of a strike. A few solid 10s for everybody this week. McCordic, with a mark, he would need 8 pins to lock up the match.
"25-year-old, it's all business." So is this man at 35 years of age.
Both players know the score. McCordic can only hope. If Ballard gets 8 pins or more, he wins the match and will go on to meet, I feel, one of the great clutch players in the game today, Don Genalo. If he gets anything less than 8, McCordic can come up and throw strikes to either tie or win.
So we've had 2 matches, 2 different winners. Ballard moves up, meets Don Genalo, bowling out of Perrysburg, Ohio. That next.
Today's bowling tip of the week is on left side spares, and they are the easiest in all of bowling to convert if you employ the proper techniques. The 7-pin is the key pin. Now, the mistake that most amateurs make is when they leave a left side spare, they move to the left side of the approach and try to roll it down the left channel. If they pull it, it's in the gutter. If they send it wide, it sails right by the 7-pin. What you must do is move to the extreme right side of the approach. The second thing is hold the ball in your strike position or cupped wrist position to allow a little hook into the 7-pin. This increases your angle of attack. And finally, use that third arrow. Watch this. Remember these three things. Move to the right side of the approach. Use that cupped wrist position to let the ball hook into the 7-pin. Use the third arrow, and you will increase your chances of making left side spares.
Now let Bo help you score even more. You'll also fix problems, improve strategy, and practice smarter with Bo Burton's new bowling video.
This video is for you.
ABC Sports brings you Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
This isn't going to make it. I just know it. A cereal today has got to be different. It's got to look like cookies or taste like tree branches. All you got here is the same old flakes. This is different. Simple, light. I'm surprised. I like this a lot. Well, you've got a big new hit on your hands. I just know it.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes? I knew it.
Taste them again for the first time.
There's a rough road ahead with no end in sight. Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Quaker State is quality engineered to exceed every single American, European, and Japanese car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
So pistons are protected from friction mile after mile. Valves are protected from wear year in, year out.
That's why Quaker State engines run strong and run long.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Ballard Jr. eliminates Pete McCordic, who won the first match. Ballard with 217, McCordic's 203. While we have a moment, let's take a look at the current Budweiser King's Den standings. Parker Bone, the third, is in first place. Budweiser sponsoring a $50,000 point list competition, which will run through the winter and spring tours. And players finishing among the top 24 places will be awarded points, and each tournament's top-seeded bowler will receive 10 bonus points. So for today, the 10 bonus points go to Steve Wunderlich of St. Louis, who will be up after this semifinal game coming up, which will feature Don Genalo, now bowling out of Perrysburg, Ohio, Long Island bowler, and a terrific one. Janello is a 30-year-old, 6-time winner on the PBA Tour, 3 times on television last year, but he's looking for his 7th win and wants it badly. He's in the blue shirt.
A young man who came up through the college ranks. He was the 1977 College Union's all-events champion, finished 4th in the singles that year, defeated by another top pro, Jeff Bellinger, who was a champion on the Professional Bowlers Tour, and has really learned his art well. Can play all the shots.
Don gets the break and a strike. Finished 3rd in last year's PBA National Championship, the Trust Corp event in Toledo.
Here's a nice shot to start the match on the lane that's given everybody so much trouble actually, is he rips the 5 into the 4-7 area. He's put some early pressure on a red-hot Del Ballard.
Come on. Maybe his best shot of the afternoon. That was a beauty.
Boy, when you're on a hot streak, it seems so easy out here on the Professional Bowlers Tour. I can remember when I was a young man coming up and how good the players are. And once you get a win under your belt, Chris, it seems just like a local home jackpot. You get so relaxed, you see, how come everybody can't hit these lanes? But then when you lose it again, you find out.
Don't let him kid you, folks. Bo Burton is not an old man. He's still a young man.
Thank you.
Perry. Oh, a big double. He's trying to win back-to-back tournaments. 20 professionals have done it before, so it's not impossible.
One of the best releases in the game of bowling. Watch this from the low camera. Del Ballard, wrist cock, just rolls that wrist underneath the ball. He doesn't go around it, lofts that ball about 12 inches over the foul line with the lift, and he has the early lead. Janello trying to match his double.
That's direct to the pocket shot, but it's a 7-pin.
That's the first time this year we have seen the solid 7 where the ball hits right into the 1-3 pocket. The 2 hits the base of the 4-pin and goes flying right over the top of the 7. Tough break for Janello.
Don's last win came in 1986 in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Re-rack.
Janello with the best TV record in a championship round in 1983 with 7 wins and 3 losses, and then was sidelined most of the year for the kidney operation. He had a kidney removed and has come back, obviously no worse for wear, and is back in championship form.
6 feet 1 inches tall, 150 pounds. Lovely. Look at that wry smile.
Little reciprocity in this sport. He should have struck in the 2nd frame and left the 7-pin, and here he should have left the 7-pin, and he strikes as the head pin dances around and wipes out the 7. Gives him strikes, fair strike.
3 frames, 3 strikes. Del Ballard of nearby Richardson.
Del Ballard, who was looking around for money to get sponsorship on the tour a few years back and had to go right to home. His father, Del Sr., and his mother, Shirley, got the money together to put him out here, and obviously they've been well rewarded. And since the U.S. Open, where he won more than $100,000 for that victory, has been on his own, and his banker has a good future too, Chris, as this man looks like he's ready to take command of the Pro Tour. Leads by 20, has 3 strikes in a row.
Skid. Thank you. Crossing over, leaving the 6.
The late great Billy Whaley often put it, Chris, trust is a must, your game is a bust. And right there, Del Ballard just did not trust the ball. You saw the wide arc on the left-hand lane almost every shot. That time, anxious, pulled the ball about 3 boards, got a good break, ended up with a simple spare, the 6-pin.
We're in our semi-final match. Del Ballard going against Don Genalo. 19-pin lead by Ballard.
Looks like Winter just did in that poor fellow's battery. Wonder if he knows the real killer was the heat last summer. Wonder if he's smart enough to replace it with a battery built for extremes. Smart enough to get the maintenance-free, high-cranking Delco.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Smart fella. Could be a Jaeger. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-Delco.
Last year, Ebonite took you to a new plateau of excellence on Oily Lake with the Thunderbolt. Now the Thunder rolls on with the new Thunderbolt MD for medium to dry lanes. The same devastating power core and an exclusive new MD cover that makes it hunt down the pocket and hit harder with less deflection on medium to dry lanes. Make some thunder of your own. Ask your pro about the Thunderbolt MD from Ebonite.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, a college basketball doubleheader. Ohio State on the road at Louisville. And then the Michigan Wolverines try to get it back together at Purdue. 2 p.m. tomorrow here on ABC Sports.
Yes, a lot of basketball talent in our 3 Big Ten teams and one from the Metro Conference on ABC starting at 2 Eastern. And you'll see badges and buttons plugging the Scottish Rite Hospital for Crippled Children. And this has been an ongoing love affair with Forum Lane's Jeannie Halsey and that group headed by my friend James Chambers.
And obviously that's one of Don Genalo's biggest fans, his brother Larry, who's a great amateur bowler. Don also has another brother, Don, in the Long Island area of New York, who's an excellent bowler. Great bowling family. Now, Janello trails by 19, has a strike up, and got the lead of Ballard's down to 9.
And comes up with a wobbly 7.
Don Genalo, who has had no good breaks so far except a shaky strike in the third frame, has just a terrific style. Good arm swing, solid at the line, holds that follow through. Look at that. Take a picture of that and try to put it in your mind. That's the way to finish.
Okay. The winner of this game will meet our tournament leader, Steve Wunderlich. Steve of St. Louis, and somebody Bo's followed from day one and has helped.
Wunderlich, an excellent all-around athlete, had a little bit of a career in baseball coming up, opted for bowling. So far, I believe it's been a right choice. Now, Janello, in his 2 wins at the King Louis tournament in 83 and 85, had a 91% pocket percentage. It means when he hit the pocket, he carried 9 out of 10 shots. He's not doing that today.
Beckoning for a little help to take out that lone pin on the deck 60 feet away, 6 pin. Okay, now, Ballard. Ballard opened with 3, marked with a spare in the 4th, shooting in the 5th with a 20-pin lead. His cheering fans are having a field day because he won the previous match over Pete McCordic, 219 to 203, and has a fairly comfortable lead right now. Can increase it to 30. There we go. Get out now. Yuck.
And that's that rollout shot we were talking about. Ballard, with the big hook, has his ball, what we say, lose a little bit of its spin, and not quite has the power when it rolls out like that. So far he's been successful keeping the ball around the pocket. If he had a little more speed, he'd have popped that 10 out of there.
Del Ballard, and this is Steve Wunderlich of St. Louis, the tournament leader.
The man has led the PBA Tour in 300 games bowled 4 times in his career, over 2,300s on the PBA Tour. Now, Janello, a very tough clutch player, but he's got to get close to get into the clutch. He trails by 20. Come on, ball.
All right. There you see the situation, and what a big strike for Janello in the 6th.
See the different angles of attack these 2 players are playing. Ballard with a tremendously large hook. He covers about 15 or 20 boards on the lane in the route to the 1-3 pocket. Janello is what we call a line player, where he's down the line, only breaks the ball 6 or 7 boards, and he's playing what we call the track area between the 2nd and 3rd arrows, just trying to keep the ball in play the natural characteristic of the lane. And he's probably the best on tour today with that type of shot. Get up, get up!
All but the 10.
And you are really a little bit a residue of your environment. And Janello learned to bowl on the older tracked-in lanes, basically up in the Long Island area, in the very famous Paramus lanes. He did a lot of bowling. And those were what we call lacquer conditions, where he played between the 2nd and 3rd arrows, and that's the type of shot he likes. Look out.
This is our semifinal game. Janello trailing by 20. More after this.
You probably noticed I haven't been running all that well lately. Mileage is down, no power. Well, look at this. Could you breathe through this? Hey, if I don't get enough air, you can kiss performance and mileage goodbye. So let's go to Precision Tune. They'll diagnose my problem, tune me up, and replace whatever needs replacing. And it's guaranteed. So take me to Precision Tune. We'll both breathe a lot easier.
Precision Tune. We do more than fix your car. We guarantee it.
Users of nasal sprays invariably encounter the same problem.
Warm voice.
Sprays that roll back in their throat or drip out of their nose. To avoid this, they'll do just about anything. But this man has Sinex Ultrafine Mist. Its medicine doesn't roll back or drip out. It goes up and stays up, and that makes it better. So try Sinex Ultrafine Mist. It goes up and stays up. From Vicks, of course.
The challenge, a difficult split. The remedy, skill with a dose of luck. Next week's challenge, the Budweiser Classic on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
Running a bit behind our schedule as we look at that lone pin. Del Ballard bowled in the 7th with a strike. He has left this 6th pin now. 8th frame. A little disgusted with himself. Started out with 3 in a row, and he hasn't been able to double since, but still in the lead, and Janello shoots in the 8th, the spare working.
Nothing good has really happened for Janello so far in the match, although he got a great break there where the head pin went to the sideboard, and you'll see the 2, 4, 5, and 8 pin standing. The head pin slides in off the sideboard, kicks out the 4, 8, and 5, leaves him a very simple spare, the 2.
We're live in the All-American city of Grand Prairie, Texas, where the mayor is Jerry Deeby. What a friendly city. And Bo, we're delighted that our ABC affiliate, tell you that later, but Phil Petralia on the left is retiring from Quaker State. His replacement is on his left. That is David Fisher. A couple of fine, fine gentlemen.
Big frame for Janello, 9th. He has to get close.
Come on.
Timber. And all our viewers in this vast area got to see that on Channel 8, WFAA, our ABC affiliate here in Dallas.
Watch the action as the head pin drives the 2 pin to the sideboard. It comes right behind the 4. Once a bowling pin is knocked 9 degrees off its axis, Chris, it must fall, according to American Bowling Congress regulations, the amateur ruling body. And obviously we play under those rules. Now, Ballard in command, but the match is still up for grab. 21 pin difference.
That's the foundation he wanted in the 9th. Del Ballard, who beat Pete McCordic 219 to 203 in the last match, and prior to that it was McCordic over Ozio 225 to 222.
For the man who enjoys shark fishing, says he's almost an expert these days, he can really bail this match out right now. With a strike, he would shut out Don Genalo and not have to go to the 10th frame against one of the toughest clutch bowlers in our sport.
Leaving the 9.
Not to be. For Del Ballard Jr., he must spare and strike to shut out Don Genalo. If he spares and gets 9, there's a possibility of a tie. But no matter what he does, he'll force Janello to throw at least 2 strikes.
Don carefully checking that overhead score sheet. You can bet his wife Mary and the nearly a year-old daughter Ann are watching back in Perrysburg.
Del Ballard knows he needs that strike. He also knows that his opponent is one of the most capable persons of throwing 3 against him to even this match. That puts a little extra pressure on you. Here it goes.
Really put form and technique on that shot that gave him a big 219 and his 2nd victory. Now a chance for the title against Wunderlich.
For the pride, for the dream, for the love, and for the peace, for the will,
clean, crisp taste of Beechwood-aged Budweiser. Until there is no more crime, until there are no more victims, there is a man called Hall. Premiering tonight.
Bowlers everywhere know the place to go for bowling equipment is Bowler's Supply. They offer everything a bowler could need. Bags, shoes, and a complete selection of the most popular bowling balls in the Pro Tour. American manufacturers such as Vectors, U-Dots, Angels, Renos, and the Hammer. Plus Colombian balls, Ebonite and Brunswick. All expertly drilled and fitted to your size. Bowler's Supply offers a large selection of billiard tables and cue sticks. For selection and service, visit Bowler's Supply at 401 Carlisle Avenue in York.
Convince me.
Of course, it's a Buick.
The USA Today on TV 27, weeknights at 7:30.
Hi, I'm Frank Gifford from New York, and coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports at 4:30 Eastern Time, everybody's favorite team, the Harlem Globetrotters, bring their fun and wizardry to the land down under in Sydney, Australia. And we'll talk with Mark Giardelli and Jill Trenery as they prepare for the World Alpine Skiing and U.S. Figure Skating Championships. All coming up next on Wide World of Sports, right after bowling. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Frank. We look forward to Wide World. Del Ballard winning his second match, 219 to Don Genalo's 198. So he now has a chance to go for his second title in as many weeks here on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Capacity crowd. And you see that we started with 160, Nelson.
Players average 199, almost 200 this week. The top 24, 207. To get some cash, there was 53 players cash. You see some of the other players. McDowell back on the line. There's your guy Edwards from Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Baker, Chris Warren again. Look at some of the stars. AC Delco champion Peterson, good-looking Ron Palombi. Stayrook, the lefty. Mats Carlson from Sweden. Tough Tony Westlake. Monticelli, a newlywed, back on tour. Norm Duke, Dave Husted. Don Moser, watch that name. Tony Morisi. Billy Young. Brian Boss, Bowler of the Year. Brian Goebel up there. And Mr. Hotskins, 2 weeks in a row. It took a score of 201 average to cash in the top 53. Carmen Salvino shared that spot with Ray Perez and Ron Pasteur.
And our tournament leader, Steve Wunderlich, will be bowling against red-hot Del Ballard as Steve gets a practice shot here on the right lane and should have saved that one for the match coming up for $27,000 to the winner, 14 for second.
A lot of intensity in that practice shot, Chris.
Wow.
He snapped it. You could see his face grimace as he, the higher finisher in the tournament leader decided that he can hit this right-hand lane, lane 40. He wants to come up and determine his own fate in the 10th frame, so he has opted to start the match.
Okay.
The game is on.
30 years old, St. Louis, 6-footer, 165 pounds. When he finds a groove, look out. Oh, no. A 7-10 for a moment, and then a strike.
All right, watch the action of the head pin, Chris. It goes to the sideboard, and it'll come out and be influenced in the 7-pin, and then it'll roll all the way over and knock out the 10. What a terrific break for Wunderlich to start the match. There you see the head pin go to the sideboard. It takes out the 7, hits the 4. The 4 slides over, knocks out the 10. What a wonderful start for Steve Wunderlich.
That could unnerve an opponent. Here's Ballard. Concentration broken, stepped off the approach.
Trying to be the first man to win back-to-back PBA championships since Randy Peterson in 1987 won the PBA National and the Fairlanes.
Imperturbable. Del Ballard Jr.
You know, we talked to Dell last week, and he talked about his trip to Seoul, Korea for the Olympics, and he observed the bowling over there, and he said how enthusiastic the bowling crowds were, and lo and behold, a Korean won the gold medal. But he said the lanes conditions were very, very dry, and most of the people from this country really struggled.
Come on, honey. That's fine, you know.
A 4-pin for Dell, a mother watching with all of you. Shirley? Next week, Don Carter Kendall Lanes, Florida.
Budweiser Open, double Budweiser points that week. From there, we go to a new tournament spot, Merritt Island.
Del Ballard had a pair of 219s and 2 victories, one over McCordic's 203 and Janello's 198. Steve was 5th here in the Quaker State Open last year. Dancing off the deck again. We asked Steve about his hobby. What is it, Steve?
What I like to do when I'm not fighting the day in and day out pressure of the tour is to fish. Standing in a stream somewhere in southern Missouri or anywhere around the country and throwing a lure at a smallmouth or sitting in your dad's boat at the pond behind his house is the most relaxing thing that I can do, and I do it as often as possible while not out here on tour.
Okay. He's in the right frame of mind today. He has been in the leader's position a few times and has found some trouble with it because he's trying to win his first singles title.
I think he's learned a lot, Chris. And that little pond he bragged about is behind my father's house in St. Louis. Obviously, Steve has carte blanche to the fish. Now, Ballard, third frame.
The remaining Texas. In this field of 5, we began with 3. Del Ballard. So it's Texas versus Missouri.
If it was a football contest, there would be no contest. Texas with the powerful Longhorn team, Missouri trying to rebuild.
The Tigers will come back.
I hope so.
Just please. All right. Talk about grooving. Del Ballard.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Quaker State engines run strong and run long because Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection. The big Q stands for quality.
Come cruising with Quaker State and you could win this 57 Vet. Buy a case of Quaker State and send for a free cruising cassette. Rock, Soul, Country, or California Sounds. And maybe win this vintage Vet. The road goes on forever when you're cruising with Quaker State quality.
You've got this all wrong. You want to make news of the cereal today, you need a gimmick. Putting a whole banana inside a little bran biscuit. Stuff like that. These are just flakes. I don't think I've tasted anything like it. Simple, light, it's really very good. Well, how about that? A cereal that doesn't need a gimmick.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
All right, you're looking at the tournament leader, a man who has opened beautiful fashion, 3 in a row, shooting in the 4th frame, can take a 20-pin lead right here.
Come on.
Yes. Wired for sound, and again, he gets his wish.
Here's a style that has taken many thousands of games practice. Steve Wunderlich, 5-step delivery, just textbook. When I first met him, Chris, he drifted all over the approach. He walked up crookedly. He hooks the ball all over the bowling lanes, and now he's in just perfect style.
We mentioned that we'd be in Florida for the next 2 weeks. Next week at Don Carter's Kendall Lanes, Budweiser Classic, and then the Bowler's Journal Florida Open, Merritt Island, Florida. at the 6, ending the string at 4. And a great start.
Wunderlich with a little extra ball speed, and I think that's great in a position round match. He hasn't really warmed up or gotten used to the feeling out here, and he's come out with a quick 4 strikes in a row, and that helped him break down that 4-6 split, ended up with an easy spare. He will maintain a 19-pin lead with this conversion.
Pete McCordic won the first match today over David Ozio, 225 to 222. Then Ballard over McCormick, 219 to 203. Ballard eliminated Don Genalo, 219 to 198. And here you see Dell trailing by 19, but he has a double working.
Close. Back.
Now he trails by only 9.
He knows how well he threw it. Del Ballard has got about as hot a hand as I've seen on the Pro Tour in the last couple of years. Randy Peterson, our AC Delco champion, really had it cooking there when he won his back-to-back titles in '87. And this is very similar to Randy's, as you see him using the full approach. 17 feet.
Hits it, baby. Yeah! Now becoming confident and effectively loose.
Wunderlich putting a little rosin on his ball. I think that the main thing for Steven to do is just to bowl his own game. He's learned how to bowl championship rounds. As you see, the full grip, spread index finger, is to bowl your own game. Don't worry about what the other player is doing. Do the best you can.
And that one slid by the bucket. 2, 4, 5, 8 for tournament leader Steve Wunderlich.
A little bit discouraged. He wanted to answer Del Ballard Jr.'s rush with their Cindy Wunderlich, his wife, who works at the University of Missouri at St. Louis, the accounting department. Just flew in to root her husband on in this championship match. And what I was saying is Ballard, with those strikes, has put a little extra pressure on Wunderlich, threw a little hard, left himself a tough spare. Wunderlich, who is an excellent high school baseball prospect in Missouri. He went to Parkway School. He played third base, batted in the 360s. And I don't know whether he'd have pursued that much farther, but obviously he's made a good choice, as he's been one of the top pros for a number of years. Now, 7th frame, trails by 5.
Now is faced with a 4-pin. Walter Ray Williams Jr. finished 32nd this week. Mike Albee 49th.
Wunderlich the release. Watch the action of the wrist straight underneath the bowling ball. You can actually see, if you can, a little bit blurred, the thumb coming out first, fingers staying underneath the ball, Chris, and letting that wrist snap that ball.
I got an old-timer friend in northern Michigan, Jack Goodcutt. I loved that shot because he's bothered with his release.
Well, you got to get the thumb out first and use the wrist.
Close championship match for the 13th Quaker State Open. 6 pins. This man leads as a 4-bagger up, shooting in the 7th frame. As the match goes on, the pressure gets greater. There's less talking. Less talking to himself.
Agreed. $27,000 first prize at stake. And the matches have been so close today. All 4 matches, very competitive lane condition here at Forum Bowl in Grand Prairie, Texas. It was one of the few championship rounds, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen a split in the 4 games. I don't want to jinx anybody, but I cannot recall anybody getting an open frame somewhere in the context of the 10 frames.
That's right.
Only 3 frames left. Ballard has a 5-pin advantage.
hit it. I hit it. Coming up high, and we have seen the 3-6-10 a lot today.
You're right, and that's one reason we haven't had the splits. The ball is breaking so sharply, it actually takes out the left side of the pins, and so the 4-pin doesn't stand. Now, watch the action of this bowling ball. It cuts to the left side of the head pin. The ball hooks so much it drives the 2 into the 4-7 area and avoids that disastrous split. Obviously a tough spare, but much easier than a 4-6 split.
There we go. And Dell's mom, Shirley. Steve, who won a Masters title, a doubles title with Les Dykes, seeking that first singles title. It's been so elusive.
I'm sure one of Steve's biggest fans is Billy Walden, who has finished second with Steve in the Seniors Doubles Classic and has trained Steve Wunderlich to this fine-tuned professional bowler that he is now. Now, Wunderlich, who had an early lead of 20 pins, has dropped in arrears by 2, could recapture that lead. 9th frame championship match.
Crossing over. And here's a not often seen 5-9.
Until today, we've seen with the sharp breaking, Chris, of the bowling balls, and the reason that is the back end of these lanes, the last 18 feet is so dry, the ball grabs right there and just turns left, makes a left turn, a little bit because of the high humidity. We've had rain for 4 days, and what that does is, according to our lane maintenance crew, is keep that back end where it really hooks.
Oh, yes. I'm sure those of you watching, if you're among the 68 million that bowl 10 games or more each year, you've had near misses like that. Whew.
Ballard going at a 2:26 pace, Wunderlich 2:24, 9th frame. It's up for grabs.
Hook. Yeah! Well, it just seemed like he let up on the speed at the last moment, but it worked.
Got the magic touch. The players used to call it foul line adjustment, Chris, and your eyes are tuned so well. When you're going good and you throw it wide, for some reason you seem to back off it a little bit. When you're going good and you pull it, you throw it a little harder. That's the feel that you develop through thousands of games of practice, and then when you get on a hot streak, it all comes together. Now, for this man who is on a hot streak, he needs to strike in 9 pins here in the 10th frame to lock up the tournament. If he gets anything less, Wunderlich can win.
Come on. Whoa! Trip the 4. Or not. Now he needs 9 pins. Jiminy.
When you're hot, you're hot. Watch his reaction. Gets a terrific break. Trips the 4-pin. Rips the 5 and the 9th. Trips the 4 and the 10th. He's in a position to take the whole tournament. 9 spare for a win.
Would you believe it? 8.
And what 8 does, if he converts, he hasn't made this spare yet, would put him in at 234. That's what Wunderlich can roll with 3 strikes. The match is not over regardless of what Del Ballard Jr. does with this 610 spare. It's a man who has 27 300 games, so he knows how to strike in the 10th, 11th, and 12th frames.
Come on. All right. Ballard in his 3rd match, 2 victories up to now. Shot a 234. Ooh, this is some final match in the Quaker State Open. 13th annual renewal.
Wunderlich started the match so he could finish in the clutch. Let's see how it works out.
Talk about a powerful strike. That was it. And needless to say, wife Cindy loved it. Now he's got 2 more.
You know, I've always asked Steve Wunderlich what he thinks about when he has 9 strikes in a row going for a 300 game. And he told me, he says, Bo, I just try to throw one ball at a time instead of thinking of the 12th frame before I ever throw the 10th. And that's the same situation he's right now. He has to think of this shot in the 11th before he can get in a position to tie it with a strike in the 12th.
Remember, he took his last practice shot on this right lane.
Good point.
Now we've come down to the nitty-gritty. Nelson, another strike. We have a tie.
You have it, Chris, and we did not have a 300 game in the tournament this week, but this man had 11 in a row and left a solid 10-pin for the highest game in the tournament, 299. He doesn't want that to happen now. This would be the second tie of all time in a PBA championship round. The first one was in 1983 between Brian Voss and Pete McCordic. Voss won that one.
No, sliding by, didn't come up. And the dinner bucket is emptier by 13,000. And for Del Ballard, he has won back-to-back championships on our Professional Bowlers Tour telecast.
Here's why these New England fishermen take Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine.
I get aches and pains, runny nose, nasally, and Alka-Seltzer Plus works every time.
When I get a cold, my head feels like it's 3 feet thick. Alka-Seltzer Plus helps break through, helps me get back on my feet.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds.
In a word, it works.
Try Alka-Seltzer Plus nighttime cold medicine to relieve your cold at night.
Do you know how fast you were going? Did you know this license has expired?
At times like this, now you can choose this. New Maximum Strength Pepto-Bismol. Now there's twice the medicine, twice the Pepto.
To get great-looking hair, you don't need separate shampoo and conditioner. Get it together. In just one step, get your hair clean, more manageable.
There's one that does the work of two.
For control you can't get from shampoo alone.
Wash and go.
Shampoo plus conditioner in one.
Bird Plus.
The Wild Bunch head down under. Witness the antics of the Harlem Globetrotters as they get carried away in Australia. Join the fun on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
A hometown boy won his 3 matches today. Back-to-back PBA titles, Las Vegas and here. $60,000 in 2 weeks. Jeannie Halsey, the proprietor here on the right as you look on, and Earl Swift, Vice President of Marketing, Quaker State, presenting $27,000 and a very impressive trophy to Richardson, Texas, Del Ballard Jr.